If you want to break some rules and make gardening easier on yourself, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Chai-Ming, a garden designer and educator here in Southern California. Today we're going to talk about all the things you can grow here in Southern California, but with a twist. If you live in a warmer climate like me, you can grow year-round. However, for those of you who are under a blanket of snow or it's just simply too cold, this is what you need to know in order to break away from the back of the seed packet. Most people talk about planting depth and spacing before they even talk about this one really important detail, and that's days to maturity. Actually, there's one more that's also very important, whether it is a cool season or warm season crop. I want you to break free from the calendar because all of us are in different locations and we might have different microclimates. Even here in Southern California, we have so many microclimates from right next to the mountains all the way down to the ocean by me, and it can really affect how and when you plant things. What I want you to do is look at your own weather. Our temperatures are in the 40s to 50s at night, and today is a really warm day in the mid 70s, but usually it's about 60s. That tells me I can plant anything that tolerates and really thrives in that band of weather. Between 45 and 65 is the temperature that they're happiest in. Then the next thing I need to do is take a look at the calendar and how many months ahead, how many days actually do I have left of that weather. We probably have about 3 months where we're going to be 45 to 55, 65 pretty reliably. We might have a heat spell, we might have a cold front, but for the most part, that's kind of our 45 to 65 band. Now, that means we have approximately 90 days left. And this is where days to harvest on the back of your seed packet, days to harvest or days to maturity is what you'll see, is really important, because that means from the moment the seed germinates, not the day you plant it, because it could take a couple days to germinate, but from the moment it germinates all the way to it being ready for harvest and consuming. And in the case of flowers, that's when you would cut them and put them in your vase. Now that you know the math behind it, let's take this one for example, okay? This is a Chinese vegetable that takes 55 to 60 days. Now, if I were to plant it today, let's say it takes a week to germinate. In my growing season of this cool weather, I still have about 90 days, and this takes 60 days. So as long as I plant it in the next month, I should be able to successfully grow this without it going to seed too early and turning bitter. If you don't know gailan, in Mandarin it's jianlan. It is the vegetable, if you ever go to dim sum, and you can buy a plate of it where they steam it and you dip it in some sauce. It's also it's a cousin to broccoli, and if you like broccoli stems and the stalks, then it has a very similar flavor. Now, since we're still talking Asian greens, here's another one. This is cilantro. This one is a Vietnamese variety, but this one is a Vietnamese heirloom variety, very tasty. And this one needs 10 days to germinate, and it just says you grow it all during the cool season. So this one is a fast grower. Now cilantro, if you're trying to grow this in summer heat, it will not do well. It does much better in cooler weather. As gardeners, we just need to break away from the calendar because some seed packets are really great at the back, where this one on Renee's, it actually breaks down between cold winters and mild winters right there. So I count as a mild winter, and it says to be growing them March through April or July through August. And it says that this takes 80 days. Now, if I were to plant this right now and it takes about a week to germinate, I might be able to squeeze in one more round of cauliflower from seed. If I don't want to chance it, because let's just say our weather heats up really early this year and maybe March is warmer and I don't have the 90 days, then I could go to the nursery and buy some starts of purple cauliflower instead of starting from seed. So right now is the perfect time to be growing arugula. Arugula does not like it hot, and it actually gets even spicier when it's hotter. So this one, it takes 32 to 55 days. It's really great for salad greens or in sandwiches. I really enjoy that. While the back of it says 6-inch row spacing, I never follow that. I kind of just sprinkle it in because I grow pretty intensively. I harvest often. Spinach is another one that likes it in the cooler months. It won't bolt as easily, and meaning it goes to flower and goes to seed, which changes the flavor and texture. This particular variety called All Right is heat and cold tolerant, so that is included in the back of the seed packet. So this helps, but like you can see, all seed packets are different in the back, and so for a beginner gardener, it's a lot of information. Once you've gotten a few seasons in, you'll know how to read them and it won't be so intimidating. But if you're growing, let's say, all of these different things and you're trying to triangulate in your head, oh my gosh, so spinach needs this, arugula needs that, it's very hard to organize and remember every single thing. Just a few tips on how to make it less cumbersome. I'm just trying to make gardening a little bit more enjoyable and less of a chore. So this one is another type of variety. San Diego Seed Company is actually in San Diego, and they specialize in warm weather crops. That doesn't mean that if you buy their seeds, it won't grow in your area if you're outside of a warm area, but it does mean that they are more suitable for warmer zones. Now, you could still grow this. You would just grow it during your cool season, whether it starts in April or May, or like mine right now in December and January. This chard is another one that grows really well. And here in Southern California, it doesn't die back because we don't get winters where it's under a blanket of snow for months. I do also know that in cooler zones, some people are able to help their Swiss chard over winter. It is one of those that can take cooler weather to survive, but the leaves will freeze if it's below 45 and damage them, so those won't be as tasty, but the plant itself can survive colder weather. So it is frost hardy. Now is a great time to be growing green beans. Now you can start growing green beans now. You should plant these and then you should succession sow, which means you're going to plant your next set. Most beginner gardeners think I plant it once and then I'm done. But experienced gardeners know you plant them once, so we're going to plant them, let's say day 1, and then maybe day 14, we're going to plant another set, another row of green beans, because these first green beans are going to flower produce while these are still growing. And then when you're harvesting these ones will be flowering and growing. And then when you're harvesting these ones to eat, these ones will be producing. So then you are constantly able to have some crop to eat. It's not just, I have to wait another 30-day cycle for these plants to flower and then produce fruit again. So this is called succession sowing. And for this one, it says recommended to sow every 7 to 14 days for 80 days. So that's anywhere between 10 succession sowings to less than that. But these ones grow really well. This one is a bush variety, so it won't take up a ton of space. It won't grow and vine up a lot. And I also really like these because they're the French slender type of green bean, so they don't get too fat and get that spongy texture. And they don't have that thick string, so it's really easy. You just harvest and cook and eat. These are actually really great raw too. I'm only going over the seed packets that I happen to have with me. Here are some flowers that I have. I don't have a lot of flowers with me because this is the student vegetable garden. I only have 2 flower seed packets with me, but Cosmos is a great one to be growing right now. Calendula is also a fantastic one. Pansies are also great. Violas for this cooler season, and these are also edible. They can be a cut flower, super versatile, and I just love the color on these ones. I love growing sweet peas because you can't buy them at the store. They smell fantastic. There's just something nostalgic about having sweet peas in the garden. I get a lot of people telling me it reminds them of their grandmother's garden, where you walk through and you get this wonderful floral perfume of sweet peas. So I always grow these, but I will not be growing them in the student garden because the seed pods are shaped very similar to snap peas and sugar snap peas. However, they're usually furry. And even though you can teach the kids not to eat them, it's just safer to not put them in here because they are considered toxic to be eating. Now, if they only ate one seed pod, probably nothing would happen. Knock on wood, I'm not an expert in like poison control, but I will say, just out of abundance of safety, we won't be planting these here. I do plant them in my house and I do bring them in for them to enjoy and to see and smell, but we won't be planting them in school gardens. I only talked about the seed packets that I have with me. Other ones that you could grow right now for edible flowers are calendula, beets, radishes, anything that is a root veggie, carrots. We still have plenty of cool weather to grow. Here in Southern California, we can actually grow onions year round. You might not get a full bulb if you don't have the timing correct. That's a whole nother video, but you can still use the greens and you can still get part of the bulb, and we have them growing here year round. The kids, I don't know how they do it, but they love to take off the tops and eat them, and they'll just eat them raw, munch on it. They think it's delicious. And the things that I would hold off on are your tomatoes, your cucumbers, your squash, because while they could do decently in this cooler weather, we do have some pumpkin plants growing. They could die if we got a cold spell. Even in the student garden, we actually have some pumpkin plants, and as long as we don't get a killing frost, which we rarely ever do, they might be okay. Also, the beds that we have are pretty insulated. You can grow anything in the brassica family. We're talking collards, broccoli, cauliflower. A lot of the Asian greens are in the brassica family. So bok choys, pak choys, any of that grows really well in cool weather seasons. And for those of you who live in a cooler season and you are just itching to start, you could have an indoor setup and start those, I would say, no more than 30 days before your last frost, because then you're going to have to do a lot of tending indoors. And if you have nothing else and this is your hobby, you can do that. But if you're a busy mom like me, I would just say wait. Everyone in the Northern Hemisphere, hold off on tomatoes, cucumbers, any summer fruit. You're just going to wait until there's no chance of frost. And the night temperatures are higher than 45 to 55 consistently, because these plants, even if they can grow, they would be stressed and they just won't be as healthy when the full season actually starts. My next class is on their way, so I gotta run, but I hope I answered a lot of your questions. If you have some more questions, drop them in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.